Hey you guys, thanks so much for taking the time to check out my video on 7 tactics to increase your email engagement rates. My name is Nicole Murphy and I'm the founder of Trigger Happy, where I help small business owners and entrepreneurs learn how to incorporate email marketing into their overall business strategy as a way to grow their business, but also to create really strong relationships with their audience. So today I'm going to share with you 7 tactics that I use to increase my email engagement rates. So we're talking my open rates, my click-through rates, but also these tactics also help keep my spam complaints down and my unsubscribe rates down, which are also super important. So let's dive in. Tactic number 1, segment your subscribers from the get-go. So a really easy way to do this is to use your welcome email. So your welcome email is something that greets your subscribers as soon as they sign up for your newsletter. And while it's a great opportunity to kind of set expectations, thank them for signing up for your newsletter, and, kind of tell them what to expect from you, it's also a really, really great opportunity to get to know who they are. So something I do in my welcome email, if you sign up for my newsletter, you would have noticed this, but something I do is at the very end of my welcome email, I tell them, and I'm very explicit about it, and I say, okay, I'm asking you guys one thing, and before you close this email, if you could just do me a favor and answer this one question for me, I would greatly appreciate it. So basically the question asks, in my case in particular, the question asks my subscribers where they're at when it comes to email marketing in their business. So I have 3 links that they can click on. The first one says, I'm brand new, I'm intrigued by the idea of email marketing, but I have no idea where to start. The second link says, I've started to collect email addresses and I want to do email marketing, but I just haven't started yet. So they're a little bit further along than the first group of people, but they still haven't actually started doing email marketing. And then the third option is people who are a little bit more advanced, who they have a list, maybe they've sent out some emails to their list, but they really want to learn how they can improve their emails and really, really drive up those engagement rates. So right from day one, I know exactly where people fall into those 3 groups, and it helps me in the future target my emails to them. So I encourage you to never send one email to every single person on your list. Yes, there's a time and a place for those sorts of things, like broadcast type announcements that are really, that cater to everybody, but you should really push yourself to segment your emails as much as you possibly can. And so I do this in the products that I create. So if I'm creating a course or a tutorial on how to improve your emails and increase your engagement rates, kind of like this video, I wouldn't be sending this to somebody who hasn't even started to collect email addresses yet, just because they're not ready for that. And it's something they can grow into. And as I learn that they kind of get further along their journey, I can target them with this content. But it's not something I would send to them right away. So definitely something I encourage you to do in your business as well. So that's one way to do it, is just in your welcome email. Another couple ways you could do it is just keeping an eye on past engagement from previous emails you've sent. So take a look at what links people are clicking on in your email, whether you're featuring certain products of yours or certain blog posts that you've written. Take a look at who's clicking on what, and if you see that somebody clicked on a blog post from a previous email that was really specific to a certain topic, then maybe that kind of tells you that they're a really great audience for something else that you work on in the future. So an example of this could be somebody, if say you're a photographer, you do all sorts of photography, and maybe you send an email to your list of like a roundup of some stuff that you've done. So maybe you do maternity shoots, you do wedding photo shoots, engagement shots, whatever it might be. And maybe you've got like a sprinkling of everything in this one email. Say you have a discount on your wedding photo shoots that you want to promote. You should take a look at past emails you've sent and see who's clicked on wedding related content that you've sent out in the past. And there's your target audience for your next email. And I promise you, if you target that list of people with this discount or this offer that you have, you'll see your engagement rates way higher than you typically would with any sort of broadcast email that you would send out. So there's a couple tips. I think the welcome email is really, really easy. So for someone who hasn't even started sending emails yet, that's something that you should incorporate into your welcome email right from the get-go, and tell them why you're doing it too. I'm very transparent in my welcome email. I tell my subscribers, I'm doing this, I'm asking you this question so that in the future, I can send you stuff that really matters and that's really relevant to you. So don't be afraid to be transparent about that with your subscribers. I'm sure they would appreciate it. Tactic number 2, personalize your emails. And so when I say personalize, I don't mean put their first name in the subject line or address them by their first name in the body of the email. Take it one step further than that. So we all know that personalizing emails, it's a great thing to do. Calling somebody by their first name, it's excellent. But what's really going to make the difference is when you take it further than that. So what I mean by that is leverage any information about your subscribers that you have and incorporate it into the copy of your email so that it feels like this email was really, truly written directly to them. While you're probably writing this email to multiple different people at once, it's always really, really impactful to do whatever you can to make an email feel as personal as possible. Because as you know, we all get hundreds of emails a day, okay? Our inboxes are flooded with content from various different companies, friends, coworkers, you name it. So do whatever you can to really make your email stand out, make it look like you spent time on it, and address the subscriber directly and personally by leveraging some dynamic content. So some examples of this that I've done in my career that have worked really, really well is maybe if you're speaking to a business, so say your subscriber owns their own business, call out their business name. That's something really, really easy to do, and it's really personal to them. They know, like, oh wow, this person's talking to me, like it feels good. So their business could be one. Maybe if you could segment your list by their profession. So say you talk to a bunch of different business owners. Some of them could be graphic designers, some of them could be business coaches, life coaches, digital marketers, you name it. If there's some way that you can bring that information in to the email and address them directly, it will really make a big difference in your engagement rates. And if there's maybe you sell physical products or even digital products. So say you're addressing your subscribers who have purchased something from you before. So maybe you can work that into the email and say, hey, so-and-so, I noticed that you bought this from me X number of weeks ago, so I thought that this new thing that I'm working on might be of interest to you. So things like that can really, really take your emails to the next level. Tactic number 3, try using different from names. So when you send out your email from your email marketing software, in the setup process, it always asks what the from name is and the from email address and your subject line and all that good stuff. And I encourage you to try some different things when it comes to your from names. So I know a lot of people get really crazy with their subject lines, but there's also a lot of opportunity to get a little crazy with your from names as well. So I'll give you a specific example that has worked for me in the past and something that you should give a try as well. So typically when I send my emails, I send them from my name, Nicole Murphy, but sometimes I send them Nicole Murphy from Trigger Happy or something along those lines. So something that references my brand and my company as well. And for a company who sells physical products and their brand name is their identity, it's not so much their personal name, something that's really effective if you're constantly sending your emails out from, for example, Old Navy, let's say. So you get an email from Old Navy all the time, but I bet you that if you got an email from Jessica Simpson at Old Navy or Jessica Simpson from Old Navy or something like that with a personal name attached at the front, it's absolutely going to catch your attention. This gets me every single time. There are lots of times where companies will send out a really important email from their CEO. We all know it's not from their CEO. It's probably just their email marketer writing it, but let's pretend. So they'll send this email out and it'll be whatever their name is, CEO of Old Navy. And people are like, oh wow, this must be a really important email. And so those emails get really, really high engagement rates. But something that you can just try doing, it's going to be different for, of course, different types of companies. But try messing around with having your brand name at the forefront or having your personal name at the forefront, or try having a mixture of both and see which ones result in the highest open rates. Ultimately, the open rate is the only thing that this is going to impact. So don't even bother looking at any of the other metrics. This is solely going to impact your open rate of your emails. And a great way to test this is to A/B test, of course. So send out 2 separate emails and just everything else is the exact same, only change the from name and see which one gets more opens and clicks. And my only other piece of advice here is if you don't typically use a personal name as your from name, if you do find that you tried it and it gets really, really high open rates, I encourage you to use this sparingly, because if you overuse this, people are just gonna look at this as the typical name that you send your emails from all the time. So this is a really, really great tactic to use when you've got something really important to share, or you're launching something that you've been working on for weeks. Yeah, so that's just my one piece of advice, is if you do find that works really well, make sure you use it sparingly and use it when it really, really counts. Tactic number 4, don't be afraid to use reminder emails. So a lot of the times people need to be told about something once or twice or maybe 3 times before they actually take action. So if you send an email about something that you're launching, say, and you don't get the response that you were expecting, or say you only get like a 30% open rate or something like that, and you're like, well, what about the other 70%? How do I get to them? I really, really encourage you to give reminder emails a shot. So yes, these you have to be careful with these, because sometimes if you send too many emails, your unsubscribe rate is just going to go through the roof and people are just not going to want to have any part of that. But there's nothing wrong with sending one follow-up reminder email. It works really, really well when you have a, sorry, I had a fluff. It works really, really well when you have a time-sensitive offer that you are promoting to your audience, but it can also just work as like a friendly reminder to remind people about what you have to share and how they can benefit from it. So a couple things to keep in mind with reminder emails is, no, you can't send the same email twice. So some people do this. Some people, I think they call it remailing. Some people will take that 70% of people who didn't open, change the subject line a little bit, and send out the exact same email. Yes, this works. Yes, this will get you more opens. So you can absolutely try this, but there's nothing that says you can't email those 30% of people again, so long as the subject line is different and you change the content of the email. I always recommend my clients use shorter, much shorter and pared back emails for their reminder emails. Just get straight to the point. Don't waste their time. You're already sending them a second email. But there's nothing that says you cannot send another email to that first group of users who opened it. But you can also give remailing a shot to that 70% or that group of users who didn't open your first email. Maybe the timing wasn't right for them. Maybe they were busy. So that could always work for you as well. So yeah, definitely give reminder emails a shot. But like I said, use those sparingly as well, because there's nothing worse than getting the same email about the same topic over and over and over again. So use one reminder email, change the content, pare it back, get straight to the point, and tell them what is in it for them. That's the most important part, is really make sure the benefit to your reader is very, very clear, and I bet you they'll take you up on it that second time around. Tactic number 5, use personal letter style emails. So as you know, your inbox is probably littered with flashy, marketing-y, salesy emails from companies all over the world. And it gets a little bit exhausting, and you probably don't open or even click on most of them. But what I found to work really, really well for me is stripping out all of that fancy design stuff from my emails and just sending really personal letter style emails to my subscribers, directed right at them. So this kind of also ties in to one of the previous tactics about really incorporating personalization into your emails to make your emails seem like they were sent directly to them on a one-on-one basis. But yeah, so personal letter style emails work really, really well for me. I see tons of other entrepreneurs doing this as well. And what you want to do is you just want to create an email and have it look like an email from their mother or their friend or their neighbor next door. Something really friendly, coming from a human being, and just having a conversation with them. I think we're all sort of tired of all the emails that we're bombarded with from different companies. Retail is probably one of the worst industries for it. So yeah, do what you can to just really pare back your emails and make them as personal as you possibly can. So I've tested this actually quite a few times in my career, where I've taken a super snazzy designed email and tested it against the exact same content, but in a letter style, to see which one got higher engagement rates. And without fail, every single time, the letter style outperformed the more designed marketing-y type email. So it's something I definitely encourage you to try in your business as well. This might not work very well with businesses that are selling physical products because you absolutely need that visual, those visual elements in the email, so photography of the products that you're selling. But I do encourage you to try mixing it up a little bit sometimes. So if you've been working on a project, or if you've been working on a new product that you're really excited to launch and tell your list about, maybe before you actually launch the product, you can send out kind of a personal email from yourself as the maker to let them know that it's coming and how much it means to you and how excited you are about the product, and how much you think that they're going to love it, and do so in a letter style email. And I bet you will see super high engagement rates with that email, especially because they're not used to seeing that type of email coming from you. And if you also kind of work with the from name and use something different there as well, you'll definitely see that have an impact. But yeah, if you don't find that you can use a letter style email all the time, that's okay, but try to sprinkle them in here and there, and you'll definitely see the impact that they have on your engagement rates. Tactic number 6, use explicit calls to action. So you're probably wondering what I mean by this. And when I say explicit calls to action, I don't mean direct and abrupt and kind of being bossy and telling your readers or your subscribers what to do in your emails. I just mean use calls to action that are really, really clear in your email. So the last thing you want as a reader is to receive an email that's just slammed full of information, that you're kind of overwhelmed and you just don't know what to do with any of it, that you're just not interested. Okay, and I see people do this all the time with their emails, and it's frustrating. Even for me as a reader, it's frustrating. So I really encourage you to do whatever you can to get really clear in every single communication you send out to your list. Be really clear in what you want them to do. What is the one thing, if they were to do anything after receiving this email, what is the one thing you want them to do? And make that clear in the email. Like, I'm talking a link or a button that says, click here to download my ebook, or click here to sign up now, or registration ends tonight, sign up now, that sort of thing. Like, just be really, really clear and explicit in what it is that you want them to do. And it'll just kind of help your reader take that action without having to think about it. You want to kind of strip out any thinking at all and just make them want to just kind of jump right on there. So that's what I mean by that. So you can use some different design elements. Like I said, you can use big buttons. So this is really common in some retail emails, like buy now or all that sort of stuff. So you could use some design elements like that, or you could just do what I do. It works really well, is just use bolded hyperlinks that are just kind of standalone items on their own line, not hidden in a paragraph anywhere, that just says, click here to register for my e-course, or something like that, and give that a shot. You want to make sure that the link is very clearly a link, very, very clearly a clickable item, so that your users are not confused. And you also want to make sure, whatever you do from a design perspective, that it stands out amongst everything else in that email. So if your reader is just going to get that email and quickly skim through it, which most people do, you want to make sure that this one ask is what pops out the most. And also, you want to make sure that that ask kind of works in with the subject line. You don't want the ask to be a surprise. So make sure that your subject line is created in a way that's sort of like a precursor to what you're going to be asking them in the email itself. So I promise you, yeah, if you really focus on getting really clear on what the one ask is in each of the communications you send out, and making sure it's really clear to your readers what that is, you will definitely see the impact that this can have on your click-through rates. Tactic number 7, talk to your reader and not to a crowd. So what I mean by this is, when you're writing your emails and you're about to hit send, you know that you're writing an email to sometimes a large group of people, but your reader doesn't necessarily know that, and you want them to think that this email was written directly to them, even if, like I said, you're sending this email to your entire list, which you most of the time likely you will be. But do whatever you can in the language and the copy that you use in your email to really address them personally on a one-to-one level. So again, this means bringing in personal dynamic content. So things like their first name, their business name, their profession, things they've purchased from you in the past. But this also means that you need to avoid saying things like, you guys are really gonna love this. Instead of saying you guys, saying I think you're really gonna like this. Or instead of saying like, I created this for my subscriber as a special gift for my subscribers, say I created this as a special gift for you for being a subscriber or for subscribing to my newsletter. So do you see what I'm doing there? So instead of kind of addressing your group as a whole, which sometimes I even find myself doing when I'm writing my emails, it's something you don't even realize. It's just because you know that you're writing this to a lot of people. But really, really challenge yourself to write it as if you're just writing to one person. Pretend your list has one person on it. And I hope your list has more than just one person on it. But yeah, like challenge yourself to do that. And this will definitely make, like I said, it'll make your reader feel like you took the time out of your busy schedule to sit down and write them this email, because whatever you have to say really matters to them, and you'll definitely see like how this can impact the way that they sometimes they'll reply to the email, because they will legitimately think that you wrote it right for them. So they'll reply to the email and say, hey, thanks for letting me know about this. Like, I get this all the time. People who respond to my emails and kind of, we end up having like a one-on-one conversation, which is amazing. You can learn so much about your subscribers when you do that. So the next time you go to write an email, make sure you're not using words like you guys and y'all are gonna love this, and really start to use words like you, and you'll really, really see how that's gonna impact how they engage with your email. And you'll definitely get a lot more replies, a lot more clicks, and all the good stuff that comes with that. So there you have it, you guys. Those are the 7 tactics for increasing your email engagement rates. And I hope you guys are going to take all of these and run with them and start incorporating them into your emails right away. I'd love to hear the impact that these have on your emails. So please feel free to shoot me an email at hello@gettriggerhappy.com and tell me all the success that you're having, because I would love to hear it. If you guys are interested in hearing more from me and signing up for my newsletter, where I share all sorts of good stuff with my subscribers, you can find me at www.gettriggerhappy.com, and from there you can find all of my social media, but I'm on Instagram at gettriggerhappy, Twitter at gettriggerhappy, and Facebook /gettriggerhappy as well. So thanks for taking the time to watch this, you guys. I can't wait to hear how this impacts your business, and I'll see you next time.